PeeWee's a rat. PeeWee. And they start telling everybody I ratted on him and shit. And then they said, we're putting him out in bad.
To this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got PeeWee. But there was no way they were keeping you on the street, right?
I lost everything, Staxx. You know, I went, man, I had people stealing my toolboxes. You know, I had it at the shop. It disappeared. You lose everything, man. You go to prison, nobody gives a shit.
At this point, you own the clubhouse, don't you?
Yeah, I own the clubhouse.
When you go to prison.
Let me see. No, when I quit in 2010. And when I quit, I told them they could keep the clubhouse as long as they pay the bills to it.
Is that before or after you go to prison?
I went to prison in 2014. So I was there 2014, 15, and 16. And they didn't, 3 months later, they didn't pay the bills. And then like some ghetto trailer trash, I went down to the clubhouse, you know, to tell them, hey, man, why aren't you paying the bills? And it was empty. And they stole all the appliances were gone, all that shit. And I thought, you got to be kidding me, man. This is some trailer trash bullshit.
Yeah, but so is your son in that charter that did that?
No, he quit the same night I did because he said, I'm not going to be in here while you talk shit about my dad, which they would have, you know, because they already are.
He walked away too.
Yeah, he walked away too. Don't get me wrong. There's still Hell's Angels in there that, I mean, I don't talk to them. They don't talk to me. Some reach out to me in like different ways and send me messages, you know, but there's still a lot of good, really good ones out there, you know, that are good brothers and they got good hearts and they still, you know, they still know who I am and they still believe in me and shit. And they say it's a dirty shame that I'm not there. And they wish I was back there, you know, and I don't wish I was back. I told Sonny, you know, he called me up and he goes, why did you quit? And I said, hey, they didn't believe in me. If you don't believe in me, bro, why are you talking to me? You don't believe in me. Don't talk to me. So I stood up and I said, you know what? I quit. And that's why I quit. Because
you're in the middle of a meeting when you say
six
this.
Guys raise their hand and say, we feel like you said too much to the cops. And I said, let the lawyers fight it out. Self-defense, go fuck yourself. I said, yeah, okay. Every time we had an incident with the cops, PeeWee, man, cops are here, man. Can you deal with this? That's what they would ask me. I'd always deal with it. So all of a sudden now I'm a stupid ass. I don't know how to talk to them. See, it doesn't make sense. It's just an excuse. Yeah. You know, and then Sonny calls me up. Why didn't you talk to me before you quit? I was thinking, what for? What's the point? You know? And he goes, give me 6 months. I'll have you back. You ain't got a prospect. I'm going to get you back in the club. And I said, man, I didn't say anything right at first, you know. And I said, yeah, okay, boss. Or chief, I call him chief. And I said, okay, chief. But then after time went, I started thinking about it. And then I started hearing the rumors. PeeWee's a rat. And then they start telling everybody I ratted on him and shit. And then they said, we're putting them out in bad. Because that's what they wanted to do, to screw me out of my shop in Sturgis, which they did. And Sonny calls up and says, don't worry about that. I'll have all that. And I said, listen, they're already running their mouths. They're already talking shit. I don't want to come back. And he goes, for sure? You're done? I said, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to come back. And I said, shit, I'll be fighting every time I go to a party. I'll be knocking fuckers out left and right, man, for running their mouths.
Yeah.
And he says to me, well, if you don't want to come back, then there's no reason you and me ever have to talk again. That's just what he said to me. Wow. I said, well, if that's the way you want it, take care. He said, bye. That was it. I never talked to him again. Yeah.
And that day you so they raised their hand and they said that, and what, you just took the patch off and laid it
right on the table, and I walked out, bro, and it broke my heart to walk out of there, but I had to, because I don't feel like, like you said, like, being in the street gang, you know what I'm talking about. You walking out there, man, if your heart was in it so much, and you know what I mean, and you believed in it as much as I did, it was breaking my heart to walk out of that room and leave. Because even myself, I was saying, man, did I just do the right thing by quitting? Did I? Yeah, I know I did. Because now I see them the way they are. Man, there's no way I'd be in that club. No way. All the shit that they're doing and the crazy shit they're doing to themselves, they're like killing their selves within the club. And it's ugly, bro. It's an ugly situation.
So when did you decide to write your book?
I started writing my book when I was a member, brother. I started writing my book. That's why I changed it 8 times, because me saying stuff like, well, me and the brothers, we went here when I was president, and why I told these guys do this. I had to change that all. I had to go back and change the whole book, to where now I'm out.
To a past tense, right?
To a past tense, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to change it, and it was funny because I was at a drag strip, and an old Minnesota member, he came up to me and he said, hey, PeeWee, you still writing your book? And I said, yeah. And he goes, what are you going to call it? And I said, I don't know. I don't have a name for it yet. And now when I was in the club, I was going to call it Strength and Honor when I was in the club. But, I wasn't going to name it that, because now I know the real truth, the way they are. As fast as they turned on me and shit on me, they were never brothers. They were associates, you know what I mean? Like high school shitheads or something, So I said, why? What name you got, bro? And he says, Brotherhood, greatest lie ever told. I looked at him, I said, wow, that's an awesome name. I'm going to name it that. You don't mind? He goes, no, I used it. You know what I mean? I just don't mention his name, but I said, yeah, an old member told me, name it that. And I said, that's a perfect name for it, because that's exactly what it was. Because as soon as you leave, and it doesn't matter, Staxx, if you leave good or bad. If you leave good, nobody's going to call you up and go, hey, Billy, why don't you come down and have a beer with us? What are you doing? Nothing. Come on down, bro. Hang out with us. You're never going to get that call. Never. So if you're waiting for it, your hair's going to turn gray before you ever hear one. So all the years I was in there, I've never seen anybody left good ever come back around or even anything.
Yeah.
So
once you're out.
Yeah. So good or bad, does it really matter? I mean, really, does it? No, it don't. You get treated the same way.
Do you have any regrets with where your life's been and things you've done?
I would say like the only regrets I had is, like I said, leaving my first wife, in Minnesota like that, the way I did, I really did it. I did her dirt pretty bad like that. Fucked up her head, and that was just selfish of me. Just think of myself, I'm going to go do this, if you like it or not, so
yeah,
that's one regret I have, and then I regret letting my son in the club too, because, when we went to prison in 2014, the same day, we both were in front of that judge the same day. And when he told me, sir, I'm sentencing you to 2 to 5 years out in the state penitentiary, high desert state prison in Nevada, for deliberately sucker punching that man in the face. That's how he said it to me, word for word. I put my hand up. I said, hold on, Your Honor. When I walked up to him and he reached in his pocket, I didn't think he was giving me the keys to his car. And he goes, well, you should have waited till he brandished the weapon and try to use it on you before you acted. I was thinking, fuck you. Tell that to your cops, man. They shoot people like that.
Yeah. You
Right?
go reach in your pocket, they're gonna blast you.
Right. You know it, and I know it.
100%.
And everybody says, why didn't you say that? And you know what I told him, Billy? You don't think of everything when you're standing there. You know, I
Oh,
was
you,
thinking,
you
I'm
think of
going,
it
man. I'm
later.
going.
You think of it later.
And you know what was cool about it? When they put the cuffs on me, they put shackles on me, on my hands. And they walked me in the back room, and the bailiff was an old black guy, and his name was, I remember seeing his name tag. It said Cliff. And he was a pretty cool old cop. I'm sure he's retired by now because he looked like he was in his late 50s, early 60s then. And that was many years ago. So I went in there and I sat down. He says, I got to go get you some scrubs, you know, like the blue prison clothes, you know, you got to wear. And I said, okay. And he looks at me and he shook his head and he says, boy, kid. But it was good for me. I got to see the world, you know what I mean? And I got to meet some great people. And I still, to this day, you know, probably have got, I'm not kidding you, probably, I'd say 150, maybe 175 ex-Hells Angels out of the club that all call me from all over the world, Austria, everything, and talk to me. And that makes me feel good in my heart that I made an impact in their life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just wasn't one of those guys that just floated along and you never seen us do anything or me do anything. I did shit, man. I was a shaker and a mover. So yeah, everybody knew my name. Everybody knew who I was. And now you got all these new kids coming in, you know, and sure they're talking their shit, you know. I still can rock them, sock them pretty good for 67 years old. I was always like in the cars, you know what I mean? I got a 31 Chevy Coupe and I got a 56 Chevy, you know, Bel Air and stuff like that. And I just, you know, I just sold a 39 Chevy I had. So I'm big into the car thing. And actually, I do believe this, Staxx. I believe that me staying busy with the cars keeps me alive and keeps me going, gives me a purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even own a motorcycle anymore. I sold it.
I know
So I
they
don't
are
even rock.
dangerous. They are dangerous, man,
Yeah.
especially
And I mean, they got me
nowadays.
on all these blood thinners, bro. The doctor said if you crashed, you'd bleed out before the ambulance got there.
Yeah, you don't want
So I just, you know, I sold the bike for 10 grand. I bought a lawnmower for 12 grand. Big old Kubota. I got 5
that.
acres. I got 5 acres here I got to cut.
So you've been in how many bike accidents have you been in?
3, I think. 3.
That
One I
one up
crashed. One I
there?
crashed when I was in the Sinners in Milwaukee. I hit a lady pulling out of a bar. I hit the side of her door. I flew over the car, broke my kneecap, and the bike was totaled on that. And then another one is when I told you I got in an accident in Minnesota when I crashed that bike. That was in '94. And then I also crashed in '94 on the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, my cases were leaking oil and it pissed it all over my rear rotor, which I didn't know, right? Because I'm riding the bike.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there's 120 of us going across the Golden Gate Bridge. 120. That's a big pack. And I'm in the back because I'm a prospect. And all of a sudden, I see all the smoke coming off people's tires. They're all locking them up. So I go push the brake. No brake. I go right up the middle, you know, because I couldn't stop. So I put my feet down doing the old Fred Flintstone trying to stop myself, you know.
You're like,
But, you know, yeah, you know what? So I'm trying to downshift it, you know, and the RPMs were up. I was only doing about 35, 40, but still, you know,
yeah.
it was too much to lay the bike down. And man, all of a sudden I hit a guy's foot peg. His arms fly up. He goes down. He's a little tiny guy too, man. I fell right on top of him. My foot went in the spokes of the wheel. And my foot came around where it stopped it up against the swing arm.
Yeah.
I dragged the bike on top. He was on my foot, and I was on top of the guy. And we slid for 17 feet on the guardrail, looking down at the water.
Wow.
When we got up, he had a big chunk of meat missing out of his face right here. and on his elbow, right here on his elbow, he had a big gash in his elbow. Me, I had a broken ankle because my foot went in the spokes. So I was being my stupid ass self, you know what I mean? I didn't even know the guy. He was another prospect from Purdue. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and I went,